Ever get that feeling, like a tug at your heart when you see a truly human moment?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
We're looking at heartbeat stories of human connection.
I love it.
It's like, imagine a radio show, but it's dedicated to all those little things. Empathy, resilience, kindness, all the things that kind of remind us what it means to be human,
Yeah, those little sparks.
Yeah, exactly. And what I think is so cool about it, it's not like these big superhero stories.
Right.
They're everyday moments.
Yeah, small things.
The small things that we often just kind of let slip by.
Yeah.
But they have so much power.
They do.
Like, remember that story about the nurse who sat with the dying patient?
Yes.
Just sat there.
Powerful.
No words, just her presence.
Really is.
What struck you about that?
It's like it shows you sometimes just being there.
Yeah.
That's the kindest thing. You don't need words.
It's that quiet strength, right?
Yes,
Like
exactly.
that's so much without actually saying anything.
Powerful.
And in this world where everything's so noisy, so busy, that presence, that paying attention to someone, it's like even more important now.
Oh, for sure.
Don't you think?
It's so rare now.
It really is.
It's like precious.
But it's so important to connect like human to human.
Exactly.
Think about it. I'm sure you can think of a time
Oh, yeah.
where just someone being there made a difference.
Big difference.
For you, like you felt seen, you felt heard without judgment.
Yeah,
It's healing.
it really is.
It's like this wave of relief, right?
It is.
Like, okay, I'm not in this alone.
Yeah, you're not alone.
But presence, that's not the only way we connect.
No.
Remember that story about the note left on the subway?
Yes.
For that girl being bullied?
Such a little thing.
Any little thing?
Yeah.
But it says so much
Yeah.
about how kindness, it spreads.
It does.
It creates ripples.
Yeah. Totally.
It's like that one little note.
Right.
It probably changed the whole atmosphere
Oh.
I bet it did.
on the subway. And, maybe it inspired someone else to be a little nicer.
Yeah. Pay it forward.
Exactly. You just never know how far that spreads.
So true.
It's pretty amazing, right?
It is.
It makes you think, when was the last time someone did something kind for you?
Or you saw someone do something
Yes.
like
That's
unexpected.
hard to do.
It just warms your heart.
It does.
And sometimes these connections, they happen even when things seem impossible.
Oh, yeah?
Like those kids at summer camp,
Different languages.
totally different languages.
Couldn't understand a word.
And yet they
You
connected.
through the music.
Amazing, right?
It is.
Music, art, laughing together.
All those things.
They break down those barriers.
That's what connects us.
When words fail,
Exactly.
and then, oh my gosh, remember that story about the older man learning sign language?
Yes.
Just to talk to his neighbor?
Wow.
That's what gets me, that dedication.
Your efforts.
All that time to learn a whole new language just to connect.
Just to talk to someone.
Incredible.
I mean, age, background, even language barriers.
Doesn't matter.
If you really want to connect,
You'll find a way.
it's possible. It really is. And sometimes that takes, being a little vulnerable,
Putting yourself out there.
like John and his dad, George.
Oh, with the letter?
Yeah, he was facing a terminal illness, and he decided to write that forgiveness letter.
What do you think made him do that?
I think facing death, it makes you see things differently.
Makes you think about what's important.
Yeah, maybe he realized all that hurt, that anger, it was just weighing him down.
Holding him back.
Yeah, and maybe he finally saw his dad as a person.
Flawed, like all of us.
Exactly, with his own struggles and pain.
Yeah.
It's hard to forgive, especially when you've been hurt.
Oh, it's so...
It's a lot of courage.
It does.
But the way George reacted,
Amazing.
he didn't even hesitate.
Just went to be with his son.
Right across the country.
Didn't matter.
And they made peace in those last days.
That's the power of forgiveness.
It really is.
It changes everything.
Makes you realize it's never too late
No,
to
never.
fix things,
And then those bridges.
And even though it's tough, forgiveness, it's a gift.
To yourself, too.
Yeah, to yourself as much as the other person.
Frees you.
Don't you think?
Absolutely.
You lets go of all that anger, all that
Where it
resentment,
needs to heal.
and it opens the door to healing.
For both of you.
Exactly.
For everyone involved.
But connection, it's not always these big dramatic things
No.
like forgiveness or making up.
Right.
Sometimes it's just those quiet moments of empathy,
Mm.
like what Sarah felt during her panic attack.
On the subway.
Yeah, imagine that, surrounded by all those people,
And feeling so alone.
totally alone and scared.
It's terrifying.
Must have been terrifying.
Yeah.
But someone reached out to her,
In that moment.
a complete stranger.
Without saying a word.
Just sat beside her, held her hand.
Just being there.
They didn't even speak the same language.
Powerful.
It's like they were speaking this universal language of compassion.
The language of the heart.
Exactly. Just that touch, that presence.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
It says so much, doesn't it?
It does.
About how we can be there for each other.
Without having to fix anything.
Just be present.
Yeah, just be.
Makes you wonder, how do we learn to do that more?
Be more compassionate.
Yeah. To notice when someone's struggling.
Even if they don't say anything.
To offer that hand.
To just be there.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And speaking of beautiful things, Elise's story.
After losing her husband.
Imagine that loss.
And then choosing to become a foster parent.
It's incredible, right?
It really is.
It just shows you how strong the human spirit can be.
The capacity to grow.
To transform, even after something so painful.
Yeah, instead of letting grief consume her.
She chose to open her heart even wider.
To help others.
To create a space for healing.
Beautiful.
Not just for herself, but for those kids.
Who needed it so much?
Exactly. It's a powerful example of how we can choose how we respond to hardship.
Even in the darkest times.
We have that choice.
Yeah, she could have retreated.
Shut down.
But she chose to turn her pain into purpose. And what's amazing, Elise's resilience, it wasn't just about her.
It affected everyone around her.
Like ripples.
Exactly. It inspired others to get involved, to help out.
Create a support system.
For those foster families.
It's like her action sparked a movement.
It's like a reminder that we're not just individuals, right?
We're all connected.
Part of something bigger.
A web.
And our choices, they can make that web stronger.
More compassionate.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
And it brings us to Martin and Lily.
At the cafe.
Yeah. Their story shows the power of listening.
Just listening.
Something we often take for granted.
Yeah, we don't realize how important it is.
But Martin, he felt so lost after losing his wife.
Isolated.
And Lily, she just listened to him.
Gave him a space.
Yeah, to be seen, to be heard.
To tell his stories.
Like she gave him his voice back.
It's like she was saying, your life matters.
Exactly. And in doing so, she brought him joy, connection.
And it enriched her life, too.
Right. It's a two-way street, listening.
You give and you receive.
We should all try to create more spaces for listening.
For ourselves and others.
Imagine a world where we all listened more deeply.
Really heard each other.
It would change everything, right?
Absolutely.
Our relationships, our communities.
Everything.
It's not just about hearing the words, it's about connecting.
A heart to heart.
Seeing the humanity in each other.
No matter who they are, where they come from.
It's like we forget. Everyone has a story.
A whole lifetime of experiences.
And if we don't listen, those stories are lost.
Untold.
It makes me think of that Mr. Rogers quote. There's no person in the world like you, and I like you just the way you are.
Beautiful.
That's what it's all about. Feeling valued, seen, heard.
The heart of connection.
We should all try to live that way, you know. So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into Heartbeat, what's sticking with you?
What stands out?
What's resonating?
For me, it's that human connection is not this big, complicated thing.
It's in the little things.
Exactly, the everyday moments.
The kindness, the empathy, just being present. Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Yes.
It's about choosing to see the good in each other, listening with your heart.
And offering kindness whenever you can.
Those little ripples, they spread far and wide.
Creating a better world.
And we all have the power to make a difference.
We do.
We don't have to wait for a big opportunity.
Start right now.
Right here in our everyday lives.
Little things make a big difference.
And remember, even when you feel alone,
we're all connected.
We're all part of this human experience.
We are.
It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. So we've been talking about these individual moments, you know?
Yeah, those little sparks of kindness, empathy, resilience.
Exactly, but I'm curious, what happens when those sparks catch fire?
Ooh, I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, how does that impact a whole community?
That's a great question.
Heartbeat has some amazing examples of that.
It really does.
Remember Elisa's story?
Choosing to be a foster parent after,
After that terrible loss.
losing her husband.
Yeah, it wasn't just her life that changed.
Right.
It was like her whole community was touched by it.
It's like that ripple effect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Her strength, her vulnerability, it inspired others
to step up.
To open their hearts.
To those kids who needed it most.
And suddenly, it's not just one person's journey.
It's a collective effort.
A whole network of support emerges.
Stronger together.
It's amazing how one person's actions can spark that kind of change.
It's like that saying, a single candle can light up a whole room.
I love that.
Elise, she was that candle.
She was.
And she lit up her whole community.
And it's not just about these grand gestures either, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Think about Martin and Lily.
In the cafe.
Lily, she just listened to Martin.
Gave him a space to talk, to share his grief.
It was a small act, really.
But it changed things.
It did.
That cafe, it became a hub.
A place for connection.
Where people felt welcome, seen, heard.
All because Lily was willing to listen.
It's like that feeling you get when you walk into a place and you just know.
You belong.
Yeah, you belong.
It's a special feeling.
And it comes down to those little things, you know?
The genuine connections.
Absolutely.
It reminds us that community, it's not just a place.
It's a feeling.
That sense of shared humanity.
Of belonging.
We can create that anywhere, you know?
We can.
Just by how we treat each other.
A smile, a kind word, a listening ear.
It makes all the difference.
It really does.
And it makes me think about the power of stories themselves.
Ooh, interesting.
Heartbeat. It's all about sharing stories.
Yeah.
And in doing so, it creates a community among its listeners.
I think you're right.
When we hear about other people's experiences.
Especially ones we can relate to.
Yeah, we realize we're not alone.
We're all in this together.
All facing similar challenges, joys, heartbreaks.
It's that shared human experience that connects us.
It's powerful.
It is.
And it brings us back to forgiveness.
Something Heartbeat really delves into.
Yeah, John and George's story.
It's a testament to how forgiveness can transform not just individuals.
The whole communities.
Think about the ripple effects of John forgiving his dad.
It wasn't just about them anymore.
It inspired others.
To consider forgiveness in their own lives.
To let go of anger and resentment.
And set an example.
Of compassion, understanding.
That spread outward.
Just like John's act of forgiveness.
It cracked open the walls that divide us.
And light poured in.
Illuminating a new path forward.
A path of empathy, reconciliation.
Powerful stuff.
It is.
It's a reminder that forgiveness isn't just a personal choice.
It can heal communities.
Bridge divides, create a more compassionate world.
And it starts with each of us.
Making that choice.
To let go, to see the humanity in others.
To choose love over bitterness.
It's not easy.
It's not.
But Heartbeat shows us
that it's worth it.
Because forgiveness sets you free.
From the weight of the past.
Allows you to move forward with an open heart.
And speaking of challenges, Heartbeat also asks us to think about resilience.
Our capacity to bounce back.
To face those tough times head on.
Elise's story is a great example.
But also, Sarah's experience with the panic attack.
Oh.
That was resilience too.
In a different way.
She found herself in a truly terrifying situation.
Surrounded by people, yet completely alone.
But she had this inner strength.
And with the help of a kind stranger.
She got through it.
It's amazing, right?
It really is.
And her resilience wasn't about pretending everything was okay.
Or denying her fear.
No, it was about accepting her vulnerability.
Letting herself be supported.
And finding a way to move through that difficult moment.
It's like a reminder that resilience isn't about being superhuman.
It's about being human.
Acknowledging our struggles, accepting our limitations.
And finding ways to cope, to keep going.
Even when it feels impossible.
And sometimes that resilience, it comes from unexpected places.
Like the kindness of strangers.
Like that woman on the subway platform.
It reminds us we're not alone.
There are people who care.
Who want to help.
Even if they don't know us.
It makes you think, how can we be that person for someone else?
How can we be more compassionate, more aware?
Ready to offer a helping hand.
Even in small ways.
A kind word, a gesture of comfort.
Just acknowledging someone's pain.
It can make a world of difference.
And it all comes back to that human connection.
Which is the heart of Heartbeat.
We're all in this together.
We all have stories to tell.
And those stories have the power to inspire, to heal.
To create a more compassionate, connected world.
It's a beautiful message.
And one we can all carry with us as we navigate life.
As we listen to these stories, we're not just being entertained.
We're being challenged.
Invited to reflect on our own lives.
And our own experiences.
And how we can live these values.
Of empathy, resilience, connection.
So, as we move into the final part of our deep dive.
Let's take a moment to think about how these stories have touched us.
How they've challenged us, inspired us.
To live with more purpose, more connection.
What's resonating most deeply with you?
What lessons are you taking away from these stories?
And how can you apply them to your own life?
To your relationships, to your community. Back again for our final look at Heartbeat stories of human connection.
It's amazing how these personal stories,
Yeah.
They really show us what it means to be human.
They do. They get right to the heart of it.
Empathy, forgiveness, resilience.
And just the power of listening.
Such a simple thing, but so powerful.
And we've seen how these small acts can really make a difference.
Not just for individuals.
But for whole communities.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It really is, and it makes you think,
Mm-hmm.
how can we bring more of this into our own lives?
What really struck me was the power of choice.
Oh, yeah.
Every story, it came down to someone making a decision.
Like Elise choosing to become a foster parent.
Right, after such a heartbreaking loss.
Or John choosing to forgive his father.
Instead of holding on to that anger,
And even Sarah, during her panic attack,
she chose to accept help.
to let someone be there for her.
It's a powerful reminder that even when things are tough,
We always have a choice.
in how we respond.
And sometimes the most powerful choice is just to listen.
Like Lily did with Martin.
Just offering that space.
To be heard, to be seen.
Without judgment, without trying to fix anything.
It's amazing how much healing can happen.
When someone truly listens,
It creates connection, understanding.
makes you feel validated.
Like you matter.
And when you feel like you matter, well, that changes everything.
It does.
And it makes me think about how listening can change our perspective.
Oh, yeah.
It's like suddenly you see things in a new light,
A new understanding.
and that can spread,
When one person listens deeply,
empathizes, connects.
it inspires others to do the same,
It's like a chain reaction.
creating a more compassionate world.
So, to everyone listening out there,
We challenge you
To be that change.
to create those connections.
offer kindness, listen with your heart.
You never know how much of an impact you can have.
Even the smallest act of kindness.
Can change someone's life.
And maybe their story will change yours,
Creating this beautiful tapestry of human connection.
weaving us all together.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into heartbeat stories of human connection.
It's been a wonderful journey.
We hope these stories have left you feeling inspired
Hopeful.
and a little more connected to the world around you.
And remember,
Even the smallest act of kindness can have a ripple effect.
spreading outward, touching countless lives,
So keep your heart open
your ears tuned in.
and your spirit ready to embrace the power of human connection.
Until next time.
From all of us here at The Deep Dive, thanks for joining us.